Welcome back to Football Cafetero. This is the spot where our national pride bleeds through every single word, where we break down our overseas warriors with the raw, unfiltered passion you'll only find in a true Colombian soccer fan. Today, we hold our heads high and shout it from the rooftops. We're talking about a man who looked at the Mount Rushmore of global soccer and decided to carve his own face into it. I am talking about Luis Fernando Díaz Marulanda, the kid from Barrancas, Guajiro. And let's get one thing straight. He isn't just wearing the Bayern Munich jersey right now. He owns it. He commands it. He has that entire club eating out of the palm of his hand. What we witnessed on match 25 of the Bundesliga was just another game on the schedule. It was absolute proof that Lucho didn't travel to the Bavarian giants to ride the pine or play second fiddle. He showed up to be the undisputed leading man in a high-octane blockbuster after a tiny two-game dry spell where the net would bulge and the assists dried up. The armchair quarterbacks started running their mouths, but Luis Díaz doesn't waste his breath on the press. He lets his cleats and a glued to his foot soccer ball do the talking, facing off against a Borussia Mönchengladbach in an Allianz arena, begging for a hero. Our Colombian maestro, our Colombian absolute masterclass that is going to be burned into the memories of the Munich faithful for a very long time. Let it set the stage before the opening whistle even blew. Bayern was limping in with some massive casualties on the roster. They were missing Harry Kane, their record-breaking machine, and they didn't have Michael Olise, the young phenom who has been lighting up the league all season. You would naturally assume their firepower would take a massive hit, and that Vincent Kompany squad would be scratching and clawing just to find the back of the net. But the haters completely forgot about Lucho. He tossed the entire franchise on his back like it weighed nothing at all, proving that with him at the wheel. Bayern is still an absolute juggernaut that crushes anyone in its path. The sequence leading up to that first goal, they need to frame that and teach it in every soccer academy across the globe. It was way more than just the finish. It was the chess match before it. The whole thing sparked from Goretzka, pulling the strings perfectly dead center in the midfield. In that split second, the moment Goretzka looked up, Díaz had already downloaded the play 3 seconds before any Gladbach defender even blinked. The Guajiro sniper spotted a tiny sliver of daylight between the center backs and exploded into the open space like a bolt of lightning. Goretzka dropped an absolutely surgical dime, a sky-high moonball dropping right out of the Munich clouds. And that's when the magic happened. Refusing to let the ball even kiss the grass, Luchico flexed some truly elite coordination and unleashed an absolute rocket off his right boot. It was a crisp, devastating, completely unstoppable strike that turned goalie Moritz Nicholas into an overpriced ticket holder. Boom, 1-0, and the stadium went absolutely ballistic. Our boy celebrated, flashing the trademark Colombian smile, drawing first blood and shutting down any ridiculous talk about him being in a slump, but an aches predator. Vexler is never satisfied with just one bite. Right before the ref blew the whistle to send everyone to the locker room, Luis flipped the script and delivered a masterclass in unselfishness and sheer tactical vision. On a play where 99% of greedy forwards would have taken a low percentage shot chasing personal glory, Díaz proved exactly why he breathes entirely different air. He literally froze time for a heartbeat, scanned the field, and caught Konrad Laimer streaking down the right side completely wide open. With ice water in his veins, he feathered a pass so perfectly weighted that the Austrian just had to tap it home to make it 2-0. It was pure class, the kind of dime that Bayern's own social media team was raving about later as the absolute definition of total football. The whole sequence was a tactical masterpiece. The second the other guys cuffed up the ball, the Bavarians triggered a textbook counterattack, flying down the pitch like heat-seeking missiles. Nicholas Jackson drove hard up the gut, pulling defenders with him and spreading the field right to where our guy Lucho was lurking. Once he hit the penalty box, the Colombian did to panic for a second. He patiently waited for Laimer's overlapping run and sliced the defense with a pass that had a very clear message attached to it. Take this and go get your name in the papers. The visiting goalie was absolutely helpless against the Austrian-esque clinical finish. But every single person in that stadium knew the kid from Barrancas engineered the whole masterpiece. With the game safely in the bag and Jamal Musiala bearing the third goal from the penalty spot, Vincent Kompany realized his Colombian diamond had already caused enough damage for one night, keeping his eyes on the prize, which is no joke, considering they have the first leg of the Champions League round of 16 against Atalanta coming up. The coach smartly pulled him out to save his legs. Díaz jogged off the grass to an absolutely deafening standing ovation. We are talking about the kind of roaring applause reserved strictly franchise cornerstones who rewrite history books. The cold, hard numbers back up the eye test too. The analytics guys over at Sofascore, who don't care about feelings, slapped an 8.0 rating on his performance. And let's be totally real here. If they hadn't benched him early to rest up, that score would have easily scraped perfection. Meanwhile, the heavyweight German outlet Sport 1 didn't hold back, handing him a flawless grade 1 rating, which, in the German grading system, is the gold standard of absolute perfection. German pundits pointed out that even though he had a couple of gritty, early hiccups in the heat of battle, Lewis more than made up for it with a sheer, overwhelming offensive assault every time he slashed through the middle. His lethal ability to pry defenses apart and his hawk-like passing vision were the absolute highlights of his night. And don't even get me started on the timeline right now. The entire internet is in utter disbelief at what Locho is doing out there. His stat line is straight out of a video game: 20 goals, 6 assists, and a trophy in just his first 35 official appearances. Wearing the Bayern kit? Just stop and let that marinate for a second. Parachuting into one of the top 3 most historic clubs on earth in a totally foreign league, dealing with a massive language barrier and frankly suffocating pressure, and to still post those kinds of mutant numbers, that is legendary stuff very few guys have ever pulled off. A lot of us remember the exact day he packed his bags and left Liverpool. The media in both England and Germany were crawling with doubters saying Bayern made a massive blunder, claiming Díaz just didn't have the juice to replace the heavyweights walking out the door. Well, today those same talking heads are furiously deleting their tweets. Fans online are spelling it out loud and clear. Bayern absolutely committed daylight robbery taking him from Liverpool, leaving the English squad stuck in a brutal rebuild, ditching their most lethal weapon just to chase after guys like Florian Wirtz. One man is single-handedly tearing apart German soccer, and his name is Díaz. Lucho has hit the absolute pinnacle of his career, stepping up as the undeniable alpha of the Colombian national squad heading into the 2026 World Cup. Let us keep it 100% real right now. What we are witnessing this season demands a standing ovation until your palms blister. We are looking dead in the eyes of the most lethal left winger operating in European soccer today. His gravitational pull on the field took a fundamentally sound Bayern squad and morphed them into absolute juggernauts, heavy favorites to sweep every piece of hardware, including the Champions League crown. Now we need to address the elephant in the room regarding the respect he is getting. Let us be honest, if this kid had an Argentine, Brazilian, or European passport, the sports media would be handing him the Ballon d'Or right now. Zero questions asked. He is outperforming guys with massive prom machines behind them, yet his low-key nature and heritage keep him flying criminally under the radar. But the real fans know the score. The Phenom from La Guajiro is a generational talent, bringing elite fireworks to the pitch every single weekend. Let us take a quick breather from the hype train for a second. If Colombian soccer runs through your veins and you get chills whenever one of our own finds the back of the net overseas, you have found your home. Lock in and hit that subscribe button for Football Cafeteria right now. Your backing is the absolute fuel that drives this channel, allowing us to drop these heavy-hitting updates, breaking down the tape, and going to bat for our hometown heroes on the global stage. It is totally free for you, and it pushes us closer to becoming the most unstoppable Colombian soccer community on the map. Smash subscribe and turn on those notifications so you never miss a beat. Shifting gears on our international watch, we are crossing into the absolute pressure cooker of Turkish soccer to check on a rising superstar. Enter Yezer Asprilla. Our explosive young prospect is scripting a massive comeback story after a roller coaster stint with Girona over in Spain. Everyone knows the kid has absolute magic in that left boot, but things out in La Liga just did not click the way we hoped. The Spanish club dropped record-breaking cash to secure him, banking on those highlight reel moments from his Watford days. Yet, as the calendar flipped, riding the bench and fading from the spotlight dealt a massive blow to his stock on the transfer market. The scouts over at Transfermarkt watched his valuation plummet from 18 million euros down to 12 million euros during those final dark days in Spain. It was a brutal stretch for the kid, but the beautiful game always offers a shot at redemption. And touching down at Galatasaray breathed new life into his career. When the latest market numbers dropped, his price tag had already bounced back up to 14 million euros, proving without a shadow of a doubt that the global heavyweights still see an incredibly high ceiling for him. Right now, Asprilla sits at number 11 on the valuation charts for a Galatasaray roster, absolutely stacked with international icons. To put this level of competition into perspective, he is sharing the locker room with absolute titans like Victor Osimhen, who sits on the throne with a staggering 75 million euro valuation. He is also linking up with Milan with fellow countryman Davinson Sanchez, the absolute enforcer of that defensive line, holding down a rock-solid 18 million euro price tag. Cracking the top 10 of the highest valued Colombian athletes is a massive flex for a young gun, just starting to catch his stride out in Istanbul. When it comes to his on-field grind, Asprilla is battling through the crucial adjustment period, logging 264 minutes across 7 matchups and cracking the starting 11 twice. Yeah, the stat sheet is currently empty on goals and assists, but anybody who watches his tape knows a massive breakout is right around the corner. Galatasaray is a ruthless franchise where they demand perfection from day one, but it also gives him a prime-time stage to evolve back into that explosive playmaker who rips fans right out of their seats. That spike in his market value proves the scouts know they are looking at a raw diamond, just waiting for the right polish to blind the competition. We are looking at 2 totally different paths here. But there is one undeniable truth tying them together. Colombian greatness never stops producing. You have Luis Díaz as an absolute finished product, a global icon warring for the title of the best on earth, while Asprilla is that dormant seed finally erupting into a monster over in Turkey. These two are the foundation of Colombia's master plan, proving that no matter how much hate or adversity you face early on, relentless hustle and pure skill will always silence the doubters. Bottom line, what Luis Díaz is executing out there in Munich is straight up legendary. Forget the goals and assists for a second. It is the pure alpha mentality he brings to the pitch, evolving into the heartbeat of a franchise hunting for world domination. Whenever that ball touches his cleats, the game changes. Whenever he sizes up a defender, you can physically see the panic set in, and through it all, the football cafeteria crew will be right here throwing down for every single victory, because his rise represents an entire nation dreaming of watching him hoist the heaviest hardware in the sport. Huge shout out to everyone riding with us through this deep dive. Drop into the comments and let me know how you are feeling about Lucho's run right now. Should he be a lock for that Ballon d'Or or podium? What is the ceiling for Yeza, Asprilla out in Turkey? Sound off below. I am reading every single take. Do not forget, this is Football Cafeteria, the only spot where we eat, sleep, and breathe the beautiful game from our homeland.